What if I told you I just saw a miracle? I'm not talking about some TV magic, rabbits in hats and fancy gadgets.
I'm talking someone hit pause on nature's laws, broke the links in the chain between effect and cause, like reality just got bent out of shape. Would you assume I'd made a mistake?
What enters your mind if I say miracle? Maybe you feel you ought to be cynical at talk of an unseen world beyond the physical. Considering such things, when you can't see, taste or touch things, maybe those who believe and trust these reports are the hopeful naive just clutching at straws.
You can dismiss that crowd and their strange encounters, turn away from the soapbox shouters, but we humans, if you really stop to think about us, you couldn't say we're in a world of doubters.
If there's no room for miracles in the world that you believe in, no God, no ghost, no angel, no demon, no possibility of a supernatural event, then you're part of the 15%. That's 1 billion people from the poles to the tropics who'd call themselves atheists or else agnostics. The other 85, 6 billion out there, they see something otherworldly in this planet that we share.
So where do we get all our miracle stories? They're not just the comic books of bygone ages. You'll find these miracle accounts on pages of books that later became the basis of legal systems for whole nations and races.
Let me give you an example for the sake of clarity. Jesus of Nazareth, founder of Christianity. His early followers, often accused of insanity, by now make up 1/3 of humanity. His teaching rewrote whole cultural moralities. They form the basis of all our legalities. For a century now, the West has been migrating to a Bible-free approach in our legislating. But that was a few hundred years at least, when the tale of this man from the Middle East spread through the laws of our lands like yeast.
In the palaces, parliaments, the Supreme Court, they turn to the principles that Jesus taught, but you'd be selling his gospel a long way short if you skipped over every miracle report. See, next to the part about loving your enemy is the story where he heals a man with leprosy. Granted, it tells us what he says about forgiving, but also that he could get dead men living.
That he had the habit of healing incurable disease, that his voice could calm down storm-tossed seas, that he cast out demons and multiplied food. These are the stories you'd have to exclude if you want to give the Bible just an ethical mood.
So if you reconsider this man of miracles, maybe the original was a smart individual who the sands of time covered in a mystical haze, a mythical craze that outlived the days of a human leader whose fame was a phase.
But if that's true, there's something to account for. Like, what do his followers become so devout for? Why has their movement so often been outlawed? And why has the pressure never led to their downfall?
You can claim that his aims were deceptive, or say that the church corrupted his message, but you have to admit the gospel's objective to give rise to a global, cross-cultural collective that would thrive through lies, suffering, and invective was unbelievably highly effective.
Unbelievable. That's an interesting word. Would you say that about the miracle stories you've heard? Like, which in the end is harder to believe? That Jesus had the power to turn water into wine, or the power to change billions of hearts and minds without ever performing miraculous signs? If you want to get practical, ruthlessly factual, then how come his impact was so international, the change he inspired so dramatically radical, if he never did anything supernatural?
For instance, put together China and Indonesia, you find 150 million new believers in the last half century alone. Places where you'd often face death or prison in the name of radical regimes and distorted religion for daring to claim that Jesus is risen. You can call broken laws of nature unthinkable. You can say that these Jesus stories are fictional. Chinese whispers will change. It's typical. But the gospel's growth rate these days is formidable as millions of unconnected individuals still find faith in him irresistible. In a court of law, wouldn't that be admissible?
So let's return to a question somewhere near our original. Wouldn't you say that is some sort of miracle?